Hello, Dr. Lu. Happy birthday. How you feeling today?
I'm feeling really great. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Well, it's been a little while since we recorded something together, and everybody loves listening to you. So today, on your 60th birthday, let's talk about your secrets to health and happiness. And I know you always mention purpose. So you've said before that when you have your purpose, everything else falls into place. So some people are looking to take care of their health, but they don't have a purpose. So that's not going to really be sustainable. So
Yes.
what is your
Yes.
purpose? What's your purpose?
So, Jason, I want you to know, as a medical doctor with a practice of 26 years, I originally thought my purpose will be helping people, the real sick one, the one that's really sick in crisis, and I can rescue them, right? My mom is a cardiologist. I kind of thought that will be my purpose. And then gradually over the past 50 years and now 60, last year, I actually went through a moment of, we call the midlife crisis, right? So midlife crisis is you suddenly start to ask yourself, what is now from forward on? Like what do I do now, right? I have rescued a lot of people. Many patients died from horrendous chronic diseases on multiple pharmaceuticals, surgicals, and radiation. Many young people died from environmental pollution. And what is my purpose now moving forward? Because some point, people like it become a job. Medical doctor become a job. Holistic doctor become a job. It's just like everybody's sick and everybody needs you. Like, is that the purpose of me at age 60, reaching 60, to make sure everybody likes me, right? Is that my purpose? Or am I supposed to be a big saver? People said, Dr. Lu, you saved my life. Is that my purpose, right? And I realized when I started looking at our younger generation, I become a grandmother last year, and I started working with young people like you and Eli and many young people. And I really feel like I need to leave something that is a major game changer. We're all going to die, yet we have so many young who have not been experiencing holistic health because of the environmental pollutions, right? And people are become polarized to the degree that they don't even talk to their parents, or they can't even have a peaceful conversation with people they love, or they have no time. Our society is so polarized, and that is absolutely related to stress and toxins. Absolutely related to stress and toxins. Those two are not only contributing to the chronic disease epidemic, but also the chronic unhappiness. And I know that sounds a little bit more physical body focused, but it's really the piece together. If a holistic yoga teacher, can practice yoga and doing good and turns around and crossing the street and yelling out profanity, right? That what is the disconnection? Is the spirit, the emotional, and the physical well-being. They are all affected by the environmental toxins and stress. Our body is more a physical body. We do have a spirit. The body holds the spirit, right? So it's like you're driving a car, right? If the driver is really good, right? We're meditating, we're exercising, we're doing everything good, but we're driving the car, which is falling apart. You can't really fully experience a optimized being, right? You have to address spiritual, emotional, and physical health. For me, I experience physical well-being first, the emotional second, and spiritual come together. Now, not everybody do that sequence, but I think it's really important to have all three pieces together. So that's my new purpose, is to share this three pieces of holistic well-being to medical doctors, to holistic practitioners, wellness coaches, and teach them how to detoxify the body and why detoxify the body can help you bring down the profound calm and peaceful well-being that everybody is looking for and trying so hard.
Beautiful. That makes sense. If you train other doctors to do what you do, you can affect more people, and then you can enjoy your 60s, 70s, 80s, and everybody will benefit. And that's great, because I think a lot of people these days, they don't think like you at 60. They're like, oh, I can build my business. I could build my business. So they're still in this kind of egotistical attitude, whereas you're like, you know what? I want to step back and I want other people to shine like I did. I saved so many lives. So I love what you're doing. And that's why we need to find doctors in every city who, because you're so generous to train people. So that's great. So you mentioned your journey started with the physical, right? So, and you mentioned environmental toxins. And again, it is kind of, I know you helped me see this. There's all these amazing herbs and foods and supplements, and there's so many things we could do to tweak our health. But if we don't get the toxins out, nobody's addressing these new things that Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine did not even imagine, all these toxins, So tell us about your healing journey on the physical level first. What's the secret?
Yeah. So Jason, that's another thing I want to share. When I was 42, which is about 18 years ago, I was going through a personal relationship, financial, and physical health collapse. I'm a positive person. I sometimes tell myself, life is so much better than it used to be in a very, communist environment. And so the physical, the emotional, spiritual are kind of strong at that point, but my physical body was falling apart. I had Hashimoto. I could not sleep. My hairs are falling out and turning really ragged, like an aging person. I have a palpitation, asthma, allergy, exercise-induced asthma, Hashimoto. So that's all autoimmune and stress-related issue. And what happened is I went to all these conferences. I learned like a different diet. I learned different supplements. Hormones. And everybody tell you all these miraculous things, right? And then you come home, I'm an internist. I see 18 patients a day. There's no way, absolutely no way, I can tell my regular 53 years old working mother, falling apart, running around 3 jobs, to do all these things. So I was kind of like lost. I said, if I can't do it, I cannot tell my patient what to do, right? You can't do the diet, you can't do the pills all day long. So I said, I need to find a better way. And one of my patients presented me something really profound. And I actually have it here. She did the Otropin spray and the immune, okay? I have no idea what it is. I said, who gave you this? She said the naturopathic physician recommended. One is to help support her stress. One of them is detoxify her immune system, okay? I was like, what? I have never heard such thing. So I pick up the phone and call the naturopath. And that is a portal. Sometimes you fall into a portal, you don't even know you fall into a portal. And what I have discovered 18 years ago is stress and toxins are the root cause of all chronic diseases, okay? People say, okay, what do you mean? Well, chronic diseases is what we're seeing today in America. 40% are obese. 40% Americans. When I first came to this country in 1988, the obesity rate is about 15 in the Midwest, okay? Now we're seeing 40%, which is 1 out of 2 people. What is also 40% today is cancer. Cancer, this is NIH and American Cancer Society. 1 out of 2 men will face diagnosis of cancer in their lifetime. 1 out of 3 women will face diagnosis of cancer in their lifetime. So together it's 40%. 40% obesity, 40% of cancer, right? In America. In America, like people say, if you are a traveler, I went to Europe, I went to China, I went to Mexico. Mexico is getting obesity too, but all the other countries, you don't see clinic everywhere. Like Mount Shasta is 10,000 people. We have so many medical clinics. It is incredible. We have so many so-called healthcare system, right? Compared to any other country. Yet, patients are not feeling good, okay? So that's really because we're missing the stress, and toxins are the root cause. And when I start to understand that, I said, you know what? If I can detoxify my body every single day, support my neuroendocrine system's response to stress, I will be 80% better off than the average. Now, when I start thinking about that, I said, you know what? Wait a minute. Let's try this theory on some of the most difficult people. And that is working 80% as well. So that's really something I've been, watching, testing, formulating, and putting it together as simple as possible. And I resisted, Jason. A lot of my practitioner friends are, they do skin rejuvenation, they have lasers, and they have ozones, they have hyperbarometric chamber, they have, stem cell, they have peeling and lasering and cutting and reforming. I'm not saying those are no good, okay? I'm sure they are making people healthy, happy in certain way. But for me, if I do those things, and today I'm coming to you, say, Jason, I'm 60 years old, I look really great. That is kind of hypocrite, I want to find a way, is it possible I can do whole food, plant-based, organic food as my foundation? Foundation doesn't mean you have to do it 100%, sometimes you travel, you can't help it eating other things. So foundation, if I can detoxify my body every single day and get my neuroendocrine system updated to the modern society, if I can just do these 3 things, can I really look good? Can I just not to look all raggedy and wrinkly and shriveled, And what's really interesting is the inside. Jason, that's another thing. I saw this woman in her 70s, okay? In Palm Springs. Of course, she has all the procedure done. She looked beautiful. She looked like a teenager at 70 years old. And she was with an older physician. They're a couple. I saw she was the daughter. She looked so good. I said, Daisy, you look so good, okay? You're 74 years old. I honestly tell her she looked great. And she said, Dr. Lu, I wish I felt as good. I said, what do you mean? You don't feel so good? She said, I am struggling with stage 4 ovarian cancer. Okay. The doctor told me I have 6 months to live. This is the problem with the society. People like to look at the outside. They don't ask what's inside. And, right. and that's okay. I think, you can look great, especially the social media today and Instagram and Facebook. You can look really good. But if your immune system is fighting something, is not feeling good, if your neuroendocrine system is off balance, you're losing the true sense of well-being that everybody deserves, right? Everybody. And what we're seeing is isolated, lonely, confused people. And my big purpose is bring back the community and make sure everybody is detoxified, nutritionally whole, and emotionally, spiritually healthy. And the nice thing is the 3 programs are synergistic. You don't have to it's not like you're injecting Botox, right? And then start feeling healthy emotionally, because they found out chronic injection of Botox can actually disrupt the communication between the face and the brain. Apparently, whenever we're smiling, we're actually causing the brain to produce more serotonin. If you paralyze the face.
So you're saying, okay, I just want to back up just to summarize, like you went to all these conferences like a good doctor is supposed to do, looking for what's going to work the best, not just what's going to make you the most money. You're like, I really want to find the best. You went to conferences, different diets, bone soup, you name it. You tried everything. And you're saying that when you found this detoxification, you were getting better results than you've ever seen by getting
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So that's number one. And then even like you said, like your allergies and your hair was falling out, and you're saying so that also changed from the toxins, getting the toxins
Absolutely.
out.
Okay. So Jason, the thing about the hair, there is a movie everybody should watch. It's called The Idiocracy. Everybody should watch The Idiocracy, okay?
Oh yeah. It's a great movie.
It's basically talk about the scientists have learned how to make the hair grow back, and how do you make the body parts becoming bigger, but nobody addressed the garbage issues. Like they forgot how to address the garbage we're creating, and the earth is falling apart, right? It's exactly the same thing. Everybody learn how to put stuff on it, right? They inject something into you, and nobody addressed what happened if this body is full of garbage. There's one article talk about how Alzheimer's disease and Parkinson's are the direct result of accumulated neurotoxins in the brain. Okay, it's a scientific article review. Talk about the heavy metals, the glyphosate, pesticides, herbicides, how they accumulate in the brain, right? We're addressing what? There's one solution in the entire review is IV chelation. All the other things are widely studied, but taking out the garbage is IV chelation. No, right? How many people can hook up their vein to an IV clinic every day, right? I tell people, it's not that I don't really support IV chelation. Okay, physicians are spend a lot of money going to those clinics, and they learn how to hook up the bag, blah, blah. But what happened after you do the IV chelation? Do you tell your patient to go home and smoke not smoke cigarette, just, living next to a downstream poisoning well, eating food that's full of cadmium and lead, and then give them absolutely no tool to detoxify these, right? You're not doing the complete job. Right. So I'm teaching people detoxification does not have to be expensive. Detoxification could be something you do every single day. Choose the diet that is really high in fiber. Support your microbes, which is whole food plant-based diet, because the microbes eat polysaccharides. They don't eat fatty food. They don't eat protein. Your bacteria eat starch, okay? So don't feed them the wrong food and take a bunch of probiotic. It doesn't really work. They die in 48 hours. It doesn't matter what you measure, right? So
let's get into the food in a moment. But before you do that, I just want to ask you, the 40% obesity and the 40% cancer, is that a correlation because obesity is an immune system issue with the cytokines and the interleukin, right? That's connected, right? Yes. So as people are getting more toxic, their immune system is getting damaged or not functioning, and that's causing weight gain and cancer.
Absolutely. Yeah. So obesity and cancer are chicken egg thing, right? They're absolutely connected. a lot of people lose weight. I saw people like this, lose 70 pounds, right? Lose 70 pounds. And if they didn't detoxify, many of them developed hair loss. They become, they can't sleep. And some of them have breast cancer, because the toxins stored in that fat gets released into the brain, the bone, and your immune system. What is the bone? Your immune system lives in the bone. The bone is loaded with lead, glyphosate, and toxins. It's already on the verge, and people lose weight, and some of the toxin, gets into the bone and in your brain. So it's really, really not good if somebody just want to lose weight without detoxifying the body.
And that's also why chelation is not a good idea, right? Because if you pull out the toxins too quickly, it could actually be dangerous as well, right? So
absolutely. I don't want to say bad things about chelation. It's just people don't understand acute poisoning. Somebody drinks some mercury, or work in a factory.
I actually went to this talk with this holistic dentist, and he says if you have a lot of mercury fillings and you do a chelation, now you're in big trouble. And he's seen people who get really bad from having that. But that's crazy.
Right. So chelation is indicated for acute poisoning. So if you're acutely poisoned, like somebody, let's say, tried to poison you, right? And give you a bunch of lead, like the Flint, Michigan, the water was lead.
Right.
And the children's lead level goes up and it's very damaging. Chelation is very good. Okay, go do the chelation. The problem with modern society is we're not acutely poisoned. Most people are chronically poisoned.
Right.
Chelation therapy is ineffective in chronic poisoning treatment. Okay, and then ask the chelation doctor; they will not argue with you. Okay, chronic poisoning need systemic, safe, and gentle detoxification process. And that process is very, very safe. It does not cause a lot of the mineral shifts. Because when you suck out something really quickly, especially EDTA chelation, it suck out magnesium, potassium, some people zinc, okay? If you do too violently, like strongly, as a pharmaceutical, EDTA is pharmaceutical, by the way. EDTA is not a natural food, If you do it too strongly, you pull out a lot of the stuff. That is why it needs to be under medical. You need to be under medical supervision.
Because you're losing all the good stuff as well. You're losing
correct.
Gotcha.
Correct. EDTA especially is very dangerous if it's done incorrectly. Okay. If it's correctly, it's good for acute poisoning.
Right.
Not good for chronic poisoning.
Okay? So you
very clear there.
18 years ago, you discovered this world of environmental toxins. Most people still don't even acknowledge this. These are people who are lifestyle medicine, even environmental medicine. They're not really addressing the slow detox, which you've been doing. But then after you were doing that for a while, you came to the whole food plant-based diet. So how did that happen? Because you were doing the detoxing, you were getting good results, but you weren't whole food plant-based.
Correct. Yep. So this is actually interesting because our company that does the systemic detox created a holistic weight loss program in 2015. And that's when, I do everything on myself before I tell my patient. I didn't have a lot of problem. I just have about 5 pounds around my belly. People can see that, sometimes like the belly kind of stick out, even though they can be very skinny, everybody else. So I said, I'm going to do it. So our 10-day cleanse is no egg, no dairy, and whole food, plant-based, no grain, okay? So I was like, okay, I'll do it. And of course, within 3 days, I lost 5 pounds. And that belly thing was gone. So I said, okay, what is in this thing? And meanwhile, I also have patients come in. They're like, Dr. Lu, this program, I slept better. I have better vision. I feel more clear. I also feel more connected with the animals. And I felt all the birds are talking to me, the bees are my children. You know, I'm more connected with nature, okay, with animals. And that's where I learned about the happiness and human connections with nature and animals. Animals will love you, right? Now, tiger don't eat us. We're not their food. Animals, birds, bees, they all sense this, your energy, okay? If you do not kill them to eat them, you actually will feel happier because you're not just getting happiness from your spouse, your brothers and sisters, you are actually you're in love with life. That is profound. That is profound. It's automatically transformed. So Dr. Will Tuttle's book called The World Peace Diet absolutely changed me because I used to love pork. I'm Chinese and type O. I used to love the ribs and the prosciuttos and Chinese sausage. Those are my, love, and I suddenly taste unhappiness, fear, anxiety. And then people say, what is the common human emotion today, right? Anxiety, disconnect, afraid. We're afraid of everything. We're anxious all the time, right? Like what animal feel right before they get killed in the factory, right? That's what they feel. They feel fear, anxious. They have to numb themselves. Apparently some animals know how to numb themselves before they get killed. So it's really, really important. Humans are pretty profoundly, we have a choice. In the past, let's say we don't have so much food, we probably have to eat animals in Tibet, whatever. And now we have the choice. When you have the choice, you also have the choice not to feel anxious, sad, afraid, right? Disconnected. We want to be connected. And Will Tuttle really helped me to understand if we have to pretend killing is okay, the only way we can separate our brain from the heart, right, is to disconnect.
Right.
Chronic disconnection is the fundamental issue that humanity is dealing today. If you can't fall in love, right? If you can't connect, it's very hard to fall in love. Seriously. So for very long, right? So I think it's really important that the food piece, the detoxification, just fell into the same place. And it's so natural and easy. So
Well, yeah, and not only that, but the fiber. You didn't even talk about all the health benefits, but the fiber also pulls the toxins out as well, feeds the gut microbiome, produces. But you're absolutely right. I have to say, the first thing I noticed when I did the 10-day cleanse was my gut felt better, and I had a painful gut my whole life. But then you're right. Even people are like, well, what about eggs? Just when you stop looking at an animal as something that has to give you something, it does profoundly change you. And it's just, you just, and my meditation got so much better. Like, and as far as you're right, like the Tibetans, I know a lot of Tibetans, and they're like, oh, we've evolved to eat the meat. But I think that because the gut microbiome changes so quickly, I think in a couple of months, if they were to eat vegetables, they'll be able to digest it. Because before, if you look at evolution, we were eating plants for so much longer. And then, maybe there was a time something happened in the earth where there was very little food, so they were forced to eat meat. But I don't think that, I think once we go back to eating the right way, so it's such a blessing to just know that you get all the stuff coming about fiber, but also just, it's so true, the psychological part of it, that you just not looking at like I love my dog, but I'm going to eat the pig. It's just so disconnected, and it's a mental like gymnastics that makes no sense.
Well, another thing is, Jason, I want to mention is today's pig is different from pig 100 years ago, because today's pig are so toxic.
Right.
Toxic.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you're trying to get rid of toxins and eating animal fat, which has all the fat soluble toxins, it's really hard for you to achieve health.
Yeah, it's always good to be whole food plant-based, but now more than ever, it's not even an option. But
exactly.
So you covered the toxins, you covered the food. What about, you mentioned the spray, the Otropin spray how does that help with stress, and how does that help you feel great at 60?
Yes. Okay. So this is the Otropin spray. I want to talk about our primary brain function when we feel stress. Is when the body feels stress, the body go into a sympathetic overdrive, which is fight and flight. Okay. Now, in the old time, 100 years ago, we may have some periodic fight and flight, but not every day. Chronic stress is what we're feeling every day. I know a lot of people on vacation are feeling stressed. So it's a stress today is different, but our brain is an old computer. It has not updated itself. So we automatically go into the stressful mode. What Otropin helped me is it has GABA, it has L-DOPA, which is a precursor for dopamine, which is not the stimulant, it's actually a balancer. It has glycine, which is very calming. Okay, so it has amino acid and the GABA and the L-DOPA. It has maramyl peptide. Has the Russian mumi, which is adaptogen from the Siberian herbs to help you adapt. Okay, we know adaptogen. Many things are ginseng and or adaptogens. So it has something to help your brain adapt. When you spray under the, in your mouth, you actually help the body to adjust to the stress. It's almost like updating your iPhone, right? Updating this human brain and tell you it's evening, it's time for you to go to sleep, not to think about other things. So it's something I use every day. Now, people say, why do you need to use every day? Well, this computer is very hard to change. Would you agree, Jason? People can go to meditation, Dr. Joe Dispenza, they come home, boom, they forgot. They have a big argument with their dog, with dog, with their owner. So our brain is so stubborn. And to retrain the brain, you need to do it every day. It's just like a meditation, right? You do it every day. This anybody can do. It doesn't take time. Spray, 1 second, go to bed.
So you're saying that because it has the L-DOPA, the precursor, so people are seeking out to produce dopamine because dopamine is a good hormone to have produced. But if you're not having enough, you're going to start doing risky behavior, addictive behavior in order to produce the dopamine. So this is giving you a daily amount, so it will help you actually not do the crazy things like the cocaine or stuff like that.
Craving. Yeah, like addictive behavior is controlled by dopamine level. So you probably heard a lot of people, they're kayakers, risk seekers, and end up dying because the thing they do, right? Because they have this surge of dopamine they crave. And for people at midlife, especially women, when we go into perimenopause, menopause, we actually start becoming very addicted to sweets, to bread, some people alcohol, because it makes their body feel a little bit calmer. Dopamine also control the logical thinking. So you see women a lot called the impulse control. They're shopping, they're going out of the checkpoint, check out, and they see all this chocolate or like a something really bad, like not chocolate, but candy.
Yeah.
They know they shouldn't eat it, right? But they don't have the healthy level of dopamine. They will buy it anyways. How many people do that and end up wasting a lot of money on impulse control? So that's really something I feel, this is not only help me sleep better because of GABA, and then the dopamine level really help me keep focused. ADD is a problem. right?
So,
So
so
this
that's
is
the
really
dopa. I was
important.
going to ask you about the GABA. So GABA is sometimes called like the meditation hormone. So how does that work? How does the GABA in that spray affect you?
Yeah. So GABA is, there are two different kind of neurotransmitters in the brain. Excitatory neurotransmitters, like the glutamate, right? Epinephrine, norepinephrine are excitatory neurotransmitters. And then they have the calming ones. The calming ones are serotonin, GABA. So those things actually keep you calm. Dopamine is a balancer. Okay. So dopamine is in the middle, balance this two. And when you have a balanced brain, you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. We all make mistakes. Is you start to make better decisions in your life, which actually help you save money, have a better focus, and get things done, right? One thing I realized, ADD is also another pandemic. It's not just lack of dopamine. It's also because of the modern devices constantly hit us. So a different diet, right? Everything have a different theory. And we end up spending a lot of time trying to get ourselves distracted. And that is actually, we're all aware of it. Like everybody know. And they don't seem to be able to get hold of this phenomena. And I think the ultropen really help you focusing on your passion, your purpose, not just get all distracted. I think, Jason, that's actually really difficult for medical doctors because they are bombarded with all the miracle cures, miracle diet. They're so distracted. So at age 60, I can tell you, the sooner you get focused on systemic detox and de-stress, your life and your patient's life will be much, much better off. Don't jump into the cure and the quick fixes. So that's my wisdom.
Well said. Well said. That's great. So yeah, so we could, and I know also the atropine helps with the pituitary gland, but we could talk about that more. We've talked about that in the past, but so what about exercise? What about being active? I know you're very active on the bike. So how often do you ride your bike every day? How many hours are you on the bike or on the skis?
Yeah, I try to exercise. I'm a little bit extreme, about 2 hours a day. Okay. Now, I don't think everybody can do that because people can be working and busy. What I suggest is to get out at least 30 minutes. Now, the 30 minutes can be 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes at night, 10 minutes at lunch. When you exercise, try to see nature. So if you have a park next to your office versus a gym next to your office, I would recommend the park, because when your hand, your feet is in nature, you're actually getting the Schumann frequency, which is very calming. It will help your brain to be alpha wave, alpha wave. Okay. Because you have multiple benefits, because your 10 minutes is very, very precious. I want you to benefit from the earth, from being outdoors, and from creating alpha wave in your brain. I think that's the best type of exercise I would suggest. Now, people say, I want pumping muscle, things like that, which is good too. But just be very aware. Modern gyms have lots of fire retardants, disinfectants, and the indoors pollution is pretty bad. So suggesting to your gym to get a really good air purifier, absolutely needed, because otherwise there will be mold particles and toxins, and then then you're getting actually more toxic, there. So I'm sure most gyms now have the air filters. I hope.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good rule of thumb. If you're in like a car or a room with new furniture and new rugs and you smell something that doesn't smell natural, you're probably taking in toxins, right?
Exactly.
And the gyms definitely smell like that. So outdoor activity, yeah, you're getting sun, you're getting fresh air. So you exercise 2 hours a day, outdoor mostly. And what other, and you dancing, what other hobbies do you do to keep yourself?
I also tried, I started to play piano.
Mm-hmm.
I think many people saw me playing yesterday. Pick up something that require ear, hands, brain, vision, pick up something you are learning again.
Mm-hmm.
That's really something I feel. My mother's 95, and when she was 70, all her friends are in their 40s and 50s. So I asked her why she's picking younger friends. She said, because they force her to learn new things. Okay. I think being a student is the way to keep your brain young. It's not just young looking, it's really about learning new things. I think when somebody said, I know everything, I have nothing else to learn, that's the first sign of aging.
Mm-hmm.
I am not kidding you. I've seen those. And eventually demented and rigid and can't move on with their life. So again, if you look at Parkinson's personality, many of them are rigid. They're very rigid, perfectionist,
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
don't be a little bit more flexible and learn new things and be open. Doesn't mean you have to believe everything. Just learn some new things that really benefit your brain.
Beautiful. Yes. And tell us about your family. I know you have a unique family. You adopted a daughter,
Yes.
right?
So they are actually my biggest blessing. When I first met Sean in 2004, he has 2 girls he's trying to help raise. And at that time, I was like reluctant. I was like, oh, I'm dating this man. I'm having my own health issues and stress. I don't know if I can deal with 2 girls. But quickly I understood whatever they do to me, it's actually helping me to grow out of childhood lack of love, because my both parents are professionals. I didn't have a lot of love. I didn't know what is a good dad like, a good mom, So I actually learned a lot about that, and helped me to heal my own trauma, which is really, really important. And now they are having babies. So now I become a grandparent. I think the family in our particular situation, my partner, my husband now, Sean, and Zoe and Mary, and now Hensley and Dan, we are all from different culture, and we're all from different blood almost. So we're actually benefit to learn about the difference, but also learn about love. Because if we share what we love together, right? Humanity can always find difference, but you need to share what we're here for. And suddenly you find more common, more things in common than fighting, than being jealous of, those things. So I think it's really good for me to have that family. I think it's a big blessing.
Absolutely. Like the Dalai Lama says, what's it called? All sentient beings, including the animals, we all want not to suffer, and we want to be loved. So,
Yes.
so it's really, that's the one thing you don't have to speak to. And I learned this from traveling a lot, even when I was young.
Mm-hmm.
I had a Japanese exchange student. We couldn't communicate at all, but yet I feel like we knew each other so well after 2 weeks. It was like we were really good friends. So it's so true. And I think, I would say like the toxins is like the physical crisis of our time. And this loneliness, I'm realizing this loneliness, because when you're lonely, you become upset, and then you're more prone to manipulation and anger. So the more people are isolated, then they're going to watch the news, which is going to make them angry at another group of people, which is only going to make them more lonely. So it's this perpetuation of loneliness and anger, and more loneliness and more anger. So yeah, it's so important. That's why I love the idea of retreats, like you and I have been talking about doing retreats, because just bringing people together is really
Yes.
is so crucial at this time. And I think
Yes.
moving forward more and more, like we need to get together as much as possible, and we're in a time where it's so easy to just, cut someone off. Like, okay, I'm just not going to
Right.
text them back. And then the person's like, they didn't text me back. Okay, I'm not going to talk to them ever again. And that could
Right.
be a
Right.
family member. That could be a family member. And whereas you, like you said, you come from different blood, and yet you have a family. So family does not necessarily mean blood. And and do you have anything to
Yes.
say about community? Because I know you live in a small place, Mount Shasta, very like sacred space. Like, do you have a community and a group of people that you're with?
Yes. Yeah. So community, this is very key, Jason. I think in the past 3 years, the communities are polarized very, very badly. And some people just can't help to talk about negative things, spill their liver anger. And those are the people you have to love at a distance. So when I think about community today, I talk about what people I want to hang around more, right? In my next part of life. My first part of life is the sickest people, people really need help, and they're just really, which is, important for medical doctor to experience that. The second part of my life, I like to be surrounded by people that are open-minded. They like to learn new things. Everything's possible. We can help the planet together. I really want to attract those people. So I would say right now, I'm at the transition of surrounding myself with those people. There are lots of beautiful old friends, but if they are in that place of being negative, being depressed and choose to stay depressed, and sometimes you may have to, tell them you love them, but your time is limited. So it's unconditional love to everyone, but you only have so much time to hang around with people. So anyway.
Absolutely. No, I love your mission, yeah, you live 60 years now, you have another 60 years left to live. So now you're gonna, but I think it's so important. And this goes back to what we started with, your purpose is you need to train those young doctors. You need to find 5 to 10 people, because that's the thing about a master, right? Like your journey, your story, you called it a portal. You couldn't make this up. Like, all these things had to happen to you. There's some type of intelligence, karma, that got you to where you needed to be, with the right people and everything. And yeah, so if nothing to me makes me more sad when the wisdom is lost, because that wisdom, you could train 5 doctors and they could take what you gave them and take it even further. And then they could train 5 people. Whereas if a master dies, it's all without leaving behind a student, then it's very sad, because then that whole technique, and I think that happens a lot in medicine. 100 years ago, 150 years ago, there was some brilliant people who had these theories, which now people are like realizing, oh, that was right. Like, there's some really interesting, theories, but it's gotten to the point where it's very money motivated medicine. Medicine become very, so like homeopathy, a lot of these things which had promise, we lost 100 years of research. So
because the master did not leave the student.
Exactly.
That is so good. That is
well, this is my world with the Buddhism. It's like I feel the same way. It's like if it wasn't, Buddha lived 2,500 years ago, and the lineage is unbroken. We know Buddha's like arhats, his closest students were, and then it went to China, it went to Japan, it went to Tibet, and if the teachers didn't pass it on, we'd lose it, but we still have it now in this time, in English, because there's so many, like for the last 100 years, Europeans and Americans, one of my favorite authors, Carl Broomholzel, he's a medical doctor, and he would make money in medicine so he can go to Nepal and he's a translator too, to learn Tibetan.
So he just dedicated his whole life to keeping these teachings alive because they're so
Wow.
important. So yeah, it's really
So
important.
important. So important. I want to die a nameless master. Okay.
Exactly.
With many, many famous students.
No, well, we'll have your name. You know, your name will survive for 10 generations. But you're
Oh,
right.
thank
Most
you.
importantly is that your wisdom stays on
Yes,
because it
yes,
was
I
given
love
to
that.
you. It wasn't like we could say you're brilliant, but it's more than just you being brilliant. Like
Yep,
so many things had to happen. That patient had to come in and mention to you that
yep,
thing that changed your life, and you had to be open to it. So the opportunity came, but you took it. Was like so many people out there, that thing is happening to them. Like the universe is trying to show them their purpose, but they don't take it. They don't
they didn't
act
take
on it.
it.
And that's what makes you like my good friend, because I'm the same kind of person. I'm curious. If someone tells me something crazy, I'm not going to reject them. It's like, let me look at the evidence. Let me see. And then, like
Right.
you said, test it on myself. And
Yep.
I'm not going to just believe something because someone told me. So,
Right, right, right. That's wonderful. And I do feel the timing is really important.
mm-hmm,
So, but when you have more detoxified body,
mm-hmm,
you become more aware. See, that's also another thing. Like if people are stressed and
right,
toxic, even the messengers are right here,
right,
they can't hear it because their body is so inflamed.
right.
So again, I think as a medical doctor, I suggest you should detoxify, calm down your brain. Then whatever you're doing, you could be a musician, you could be an artist, you could be an acupuncturist. You just do better. Do you see? So it's good for everyone to
Absolutely.
detoxify. Detoxify.
Absolutely. And plus, in the process, you become more mindful of what toxins are out there. So then you buy less toxic products. And we should do a whole episode on that because I have a lot of tricks on how to replace everything in your home. Like I haven't used a chemical, even before I met you, I was mindful of this, like the deodorants, the dish soap. There's so many things that you can just use like vinegar or baking soda to replace.
Mm-hmm,
So
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so absolutely. So yeah, having a healthy body is good for you, is good for the environment, and it's good for your mind, your precious mind. So is there anything else that you want to mention or give advice on before you celebrate your birthday?
Yes. So, Jason, I want to invite everyone to be involved with the systemic detox group. If you're a patient, just remember there's a doctor out there like me 18 years ago searching for my own answer. If you're a patient, share with your doctor, share with what you learned, and we will love you. We will reward you for sharing the important message of systemic detoxification.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, thank you. You're absolutely right. You know, in this day and age, it's really important to share the message, you know, because your doctor, people are like, oh, that's my doctor, they know everything, but your story is, again, it's beautiful and it's humbling because the
Mm-hmm.
doctor learned something from the patient, right? And that changed
Yes.
whole life. So if you're a patient out there, get yourself healthy through detoxification and Dr. Lu's protocols, and then you might actually change your doctor's health and your doctor's life.
Yes, absolutely. Everybody is empowered. Our planet will be healthy and happier.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Lu. This is
Thank
amazing.
you,
So
Jason.
I'm always learning. I just when I think I can't learn more, I'm always learning little things from you.
And
So,
you look so good.
well, thank
So
you.
I
I'm
have a picture of your first time we met, and now you're just looking better and better every year, Jason.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dr. Lu.
Thank you.
Talk again soon.
Same here. Talk to you soon. Okay.